Football is so much more than a single season. It's something you look forward to 365 days of the year. Just like Nationwide is so much more than a great insurance company. They're one of America's largest financial services companies, too. For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side. Nationwide Investment Services Corporation, member FINRA, Columbus, Ohio.
Now tuned into the greatest.
So when that bag come, I won't fumble. I'm just stacking on the low, but hey, I'm tired of being humble. Let me get to it. That motivation music. Get control of your life, don't let nobody else do it. Cause when I gon' have Metro S550s cruising. Feel like you winning on the ground.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. Now, I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast. You know, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like or you dislike, shoot us a quick take on the voicemail line, 219-413-9405. And of course, we'll play your take back on our next episode. And then speaking of episodes, shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this episode. Get $20 off your first ticket purchase when you use the promo code The Run Podcast. Now, this code can only be applied for first-time users on the mobile app or website. So I don't know about you, but you better create that email and just make an account and use this promo code to save yourself $20 off some tickets to a concert or wherever it is you're trying to attend that involves tickets. So SeatGeek got you covered. I'm so glad I didn't purchase some tickets to this Atlanta Falcons game because I would have been furious. Oh, man. Yeah, officially, at this point, I think it doesn't get any more clear. I'm officially out on the Atlanta Falcons. I'm done. I'm done with this team. I'm still a fan. What I mean by that, like, I'm a fan of this team. But I'm officially out on the Atlanta Falcons. I don't think they'll end up being a playoff team like they had aspirations of doing. This Falcons team is just not adding up to what it's supposed to be like. And it's not necessarily from a personnel standpoint where this Falcons team is underperforming. It's the coaching staff where this Falcons team is just not getting to what they need to do. And I don't think with changes being so stagnant early on, and I mean, you're week 8 now and you still haven't figured out the offense. You had all of last year to figure out the offense. You had all of this year to figure out the offense, and you still haven't figured out how to make something work with this offense. We still only run 7 plays throughout the whole game, and 6 of them are all in pistol. So it's just like, with this stuff being said, man, I'm done with the Atlanta Falcons. I don't think they'll end up being a competitive team this year. I see us probably being 8-9, if that. But this is just not what you do when you initially say you're going to go all out. And it's that type of season of going all out and being a playoff team for sure and all of that. I mean, seriously, like, I think about this in terms of where we are from the Atlanta Falcons. Like, obviously, so for those who might not know, they just lost to the Miami Dolphins, and it was not even a pretty game. Falcons look bad. Dolphins are the worst defensive team in the league when you talk about running the ball. They're just not really a good team. They won 1 game so far through the season. They just won another against us, so they have a record of 2-6. So they just smacked the Falcons 34-10, and the Falcons were at home. Yes, the Falcons had a lot of injuries on this roster coming into this game, but ultimately that's not an excuse for looking the way that the Atlanta Falcons did. This was not on the players underperforming in this game against the Miami Dolphins. It was strictly coaching error after coaching error. Play call was just terrible on the offensive side. We didn't even give Kirk Cousins a chance to even show what he could do because the play call was so bad. So, yeah, people are like, Kirk Cousins played bad and all of this, but ultimately, Kirk is not to blame because he can only do what he's being told from the coaching staff. And the coaching staff is ruining his opportunity to show that he still has some good legs under his belt and a good arm to throw the ball. Like, Kirk couldn't even show out because the play call was so bad. The offense was so bad. All the errors were just so bad. So it's like, you know, this is the things where it's not good for this Atlanta Falcons team. And I don't see any changes happening. Raheem Morris is still head coach. Offensive coordinator still Zach Robinson, and he's not doing anything better. He's been struggling since last year with this Atlanta Falcons team. So I just don't see a reason why the Atlanta Falcons would be serious threats this year. And if anybody has a reason why this Atlanta Falcons team could still be good, please let me know. But at this point, I don't understand why Raheem Morris still has his job as a head coach. I truly don't understand why offensive coordinator Zach Robinson still has a job as a head coach. He's been bad way longer than Raheem Morris, but the fact is, I'm out of reasons to try and validate this coaching staff. Only person who does a decent job at what he's doing is Jeff Albridge, the defensive coordinator. He has the Falcons sitting top tier in different defensive stats. So, yeah, they're not winning these games, but he's doing his job. So I'm done with Raheem Morris, man. I'm pretty much done with him at this point. I tried to vouch for this dude for so long, man. I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt with this team. And I think there's some things that he does well, but it's very little things compared to the things that they're not doing good. Like the things that they're doing bad. It's very little things that Raheem Morris does great. And when you look at the pros and cons, and I think of it this way, okay, you put together a pros and cons list of what Raheem Morris and what the coaching staff for the Atlanta Falcons is doing good. Let's say this. All right. First, I want to say this. Okay, first, for anybody trying to think of any reasons of why the Atlanta Falcons coaching staff is still have a job, Raheem Morris, offensive coordinator Zach Robinson still has a job. The only one who's been good is Jeff Albridge, the defensive coordinator. But for anybody who's thinking of this, one, I want to know a reason. Two, I also want to make a pros and cons list. And this is hilarious because me and my girl, we were talking about something of like, all right, we were just talking because we watched Love is Blind. All right, we was watching Love is Blind and we was talking about like different couples on there. And we brought up like, all right, the pros and cons list of things. And she told me, she said, you know, the girlies laugh about it because they say if you got to make a pros and cons list about what your guy is doing good or what he's doing bad, at that point, you just got to let him go. I think about this same thing with the Falcons head coach Raheem Morris and offensive coordinator Zach Robinson. There's not a pros and cons list where the pros will outweigh the cons if we start this list. So just to think about it this way, if we put together a pros and cons list, or we're thinking about putting together a pros and cons list of Raheem Morris, head coach, and offensive coordinator Zach Robinson for the Falcons, it's time to just let them go. It's time to get out of there. It's done. The relationship is over with. You've done everything bad for so long already, and it's no change in the direction of where you're headed. So I'm done with the Atlanta Falcons in terms of believing they'll be contenders this season. I've lost faith in them at this point, and I don't think they'll turn anything around until they let go of at least Zach Robinson. He's the first one that definitely has to go, and they definitely won't turn anything around if Raheem Morris is still a head coach in the future. But it all starts with definitely Zach Robinson as the offensive coordinator. This dude has been bad for years at this point. So we've given him multiple opportunities to show what he can do, and he hasn't done anything. So I'm out on that. I'm out on that. And, I think Albridge, if he stepped up, he would probably be a good interim head coach. And I'm content with Jeff Albridge being interim head coach with the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, when we seen him step up for Robert Saleh in New York with the Jets, he did a pretty damn good job. And I'm sure that whatever Albridge could do with this Atlanta Falcons team would be better than what Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson is doing at the other two coordinator positions. Because this is ridiculous, man. This is just it's crazy. And my thing here is you don't, as a team who got rid of their first round draft picks, not saying I disagree with the Falcons getting rid of their draft picks to go all out on this current season, but as a team who did that, this is not where you land. You don't land at a team who's struggling to figure out the offense. You don't land at a team who still doesn't have it down pat. If you got rid of your first round picks for next year and you're going all out on the following season, you don't need to be 3-4 by the time we hit week 9. Like, what are we doing? It doesn't make sense at all. And to me, it's like, in a way, you're selling yourself short by not making these changes that need to be made in order to have a successful season. Why is the coordinator still the same? Why is the coach still the same? And I'm not one of the people who overreact over every little change like, oh, we lost, we need to fire somebody. I'm not that type of person at all. I want that to be abundantly clear. That's not me at all. I'm not, we lose a game, we get blown out, like, oh, we need to fire. Like when we lost to the Panthers, I wasn't hooting and hollering about, oh, we need to fire head coaches and all that. Like it was bad. It was monsters bad, but I wasn't hooting and hollering about that. But the fact that this team has not looked any better besides 1 week and we're all the way up to week 9 It's a damn shame, bro. Something has to change. And that's where I reach my limit of like, we need a new offensive coordinator. The head coach is also, he has to go because now we're underachieving from what we set out to do in the summertime. We got rid of draft picks to bring in 2 elite pass rushers and multiple defenders in the secondary. And now we're selling them short. We're selling the team short. We're selling the fans short, the staff. We're selling everybody short by not making changes and going all out like we intended to do in the summer. So I'm done, man. I can't help you at that point. So look, that's them Falcons, man. They struggled, man. Again, they lost to the Dolphins. It was just a nasty, nasty loss, man. I'm speechless about it. And yeah, man, I'm just speechless about it. There's no valid excuse to lose 34-10 to the Miami Dolphins. Even if you are unhealthy, I get it. You're down multiple players defensively. You're down multiple players offensively. I get it, bro. But there's no excuse for being this bad. No, it's just not an excuse. And I can't validate that. I cannot validate that. There's not a single excuse I can think of that would make that okay. So, man, yeah, they're bad. And I don't think the Falcons are going to amount to anything this season. Let's sim the next season. Let's fast forward to next season because this season is definitely not it, man. I'm out on the Falcons, man. All right, look, so we got some more stuff coming up. Some tiers of the NFL. Who's, top tier, tier 1, 2, 3, tier 4. All of these things, we're going to break that down in just a second. This episode is also going to be slightly different. So if this is the first time, like anybody's tuning in and listening, I do want you to know the episode's slightly different, man. It is what it is, but it will still be a good episode, but it's just slightly different. So we're not going to break into any news as of right now, but we will go into the different tiers of the NFL with certain teams. So let's do that. We'll be right back. It's halftime.
Football is so much more than a single season. It's something you look forward to 365 days of the year. Just like Nationwide is so much more than a great insurance company. They're one of America's largest financial services companies, too. For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side. Nationwide Investment Services Corporation, member FINRA, Columbus, Ohio.
Game day energy starts before the first snap with Chumba Casino. Whether you're killing time before kickoff or celebrating a big touchdown, Chumba Casino brings the thrill of the game right to your browser. Spin the reels, play blackjack, instant scratch-style cards, and more. It's like having a full playbook of fun at your fingertips. Sign up in seconds and score a free welcome bonus. Plus, daily login bonuses each time you return. And here's the extra point. You don't need to make a purchase to get in on the action. So whether you're going for a Hail Mary or just looking for a solid drive of entertainment, Chumba Casino gives you a chance to score some serious prizes without leaving your home turf. It's your move. Start your streak at ChumbaCasino.com today. Sponsored by VGW Group. No purchase necessary. See terms at ChumbaCasino.com. Must be over 21 and present in a state where it's legal to play.
All right, man, welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson. I appreciate you for tuning in. Leave us a quick take on a voicemail line, 219-413-9405. If you hear something you just want to talk about, chime in on. I mean, we got the tier list up here finally. So to break down these different tiers of NFL teams, and I was going to reveal it slowly for those who are on the live or watching elsewhere. But you know what? Why do that? I'll just show you the list all at once. And for those listening, you would just hear it all at once as well. So we know who the contenders of the NFL are now. We just finished week 8. We got one more game left. I think it's the Chiefs and Commanders playing tonight for Monday. But ultimately, week 8 is just about over. We're heading into week 9. And now we know who the contenders are. So tier 1 of teams in the NFL. And this tier 1 of teams that I have in tier 1 teams to me are Super Bowl contenders, and they will probably go to the Super Bowl or at least be a serious threat to going to the Super Bowl. So tier 1 teams are potential Super Bowl teams. I have the Indianapolis Colts at 1, the Detroit Lions, the Buffalo Bills, and the Philadelphia Eagles. All of these teams to me are Super Bowl contenders because they take care of business, and ultimately they have what a lot of teams don't, which is consistency. Despite a lot of injuries that some of these teams are going through, they're still consistent. And I know the Eagles could be a debatable conversation, but the Eagles, when in doubt, they have improved over the time that they've spent through week 1 all the way through week 9. We've seen them come out. They were barely winning games. They were just kind of winning games based on pure luck. The offense was very stagnant, couldn't get anything going. But in the last 3 to 4 weeks, they've shown that they've made some sort of changes, and they're pretty much rolling over the last 3 weeks. Now, anything can still happen, but ultimately, the Eagles are a very talented team. They're also one of the most healthiest teams in the NFC. So I think they have to be considered Super Bowl contenders here. Lions are just extremely consistent, putting up points after points, regardless of how many injuries they have on the defensive end. That defense is still there. And then the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, I mean, hey, you can't even argue with the Bills. Yeah, they had some slip-ups so far this season, but you can't argue with the Bills. And I still have a lot of confidence as long as they have Josh Allen at quarterback. And the Colts, man, I've been telling y'all about the Colts, that this team is elite. The Colts are elite, man, leading the league in points per game, and they just continue to thrive offensively in every aspect. So I'm loving what I'm seeing from these 4 teams, but that's my tier 1 teams who are possibly going to compete for a Super Bowl. I have the Indianapolis Colts, the Detroit Lions, the Buffalo Bills, and the Philadelphia Eagles for tier 1 of the NFL. Now, tier 2, because here's where things get interesting. And tier 2 teams to me are probably guaranteed playoff teams. I see tier 2 teams as something where these teams can make some noise, and they probably will end up going to the playoffs and at least having a shot at knocking somebody out of the playoffs and going to the Super Bowl. So I have Denver Broncos, New England Patriots, Kansas City Chiefs, Pittsburgh Steelers, Seattle Seahawks, Green Bay Packers, and the San Francisco 49ers. Now, I have this mix-up of teams in Tier 2 who will probably get to the playoffs, and I'm pretty certain they'll get to the playoffs, actually, for Tier 2 teams. But these Tier 2 teams are certainly going to get to the playoffs, and I think they are very competitive. They have a lot of talent, and, man, they've just been rolling. Some of them have easier schedules than a lot of teams, which is going to work to an advantage. I have here the Patriots, they're a team that has an easy schedule, so I think that'll be very beneficial for them. 49ers also have a very easy schedule, but they've been dealing with some injuries, but yet they figure out ways to keep winning, even though they're coming off of a rough game this current week. But I ultimately think, tier 2 teams, this is what you get. Kansas City Chiefs, Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, these 2 guys have been thriving so far this season. They're not extremely talented where they're like competitive to the point where you're going to think they'll have an easy road to the Super Bowl. But ultimately, I have a lot of faith in what I've seen from these teams all the way up to week 9. And I think they'll be playoff teams, man. You got the Broncos, Patriots, Chiefs, Pittsburgh Steelers, Seahawks, Green Bay Packers, and the San Francisco 49ers. So those are my tier 2 teams. Tier 3 is what I have for pretty much wild card teams. If you're a wild card team, I think you fall somewhere in tier 3, and these tier 3 teams will be Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Los Angeles Chargers, Los Angeles Rams. I see these 3 teams as like the main teams that can really flip their season and be legitimate contenders or possibly get in the playoffs, but somewhere in that wild card range, because they're not bad teams, but there are some things that they still struggling to figure out. So I'm not super convinced, but they are better than a lot of teams who didn't make it. So any teams that you did not hear in 1, 2, or 3, then I just don't think they're getting to the playoffs. At this point, I don't think they have a shot at getting to the playoffs. I don't think they'll really make anything happen. Now, anything can happen. It's not the end of the season. It's only week 9 coming up. But I don't think these teams who didn't make the cut will be in there. And just to pull up a few of them, let's go back and pull up some of the standings, the current standings right now. Just look through to make sure. So just looking at the top of the AFC right now, top 3 teams is Colts, Patriots, and Broncos, which is insane. But these teams kind of all did a 360, and they've been thriving so far. So that's why they're in that conversation. You look at some of the other teams, Ravens, oh man, 2-5. I know I didn't name them, but the Baltimore Ravens were left out of this conversation just because no Lamar Jackson. And then honestly, I'm a little scared for when Lamar Jackson does return, because even when Lamar Jackson comes back, I don't know how this team will perform. Now, obviously, they'll be able to score the ball and keep up with teams and stay in the game and win some games. But ultimately, man, it's going to be tough. And yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough with that Ravens team, especially approaching that mid-season break so far. You got the Texans. Texans have a great defense, man. I love the Texans defense. They're so intense, and they're very physical and all. I love the Texans defense, but I just don't know if they'll be able to hang offensively. Jaguars are another team that could possibly see the wild card in the AFC. And then that's pretty much it, man. I don't think Joe Burrow is really going to come back and do anything. But the Bengals, I don't think they'll have enough to really lock in and win games in the AFC, if you will. And then for the NFC, the teams outside of who I named, I could see the Cowboys probably turning up and getting into the playoffs, or at least the wild card. They struggle early on, but they're not bad. I think they're okay. They can still turn it around. It's a lot of teams in the NFC that have more leeway to turn things around because the NFC is less competitive than the AFC right now. I think that's a little safe to say, especially when some of the guys like Lamar Jackson and stuff come back. But right now, Cowboys, definitely competitive. I told you I'm out on the Atlanta Falcons. Vikings, they still trying to make something happen, but it's possible. You got a lot of 3-4 teams, 4-4 teams in the NFC. Rams, definitely, I got them wild card for sure. If not the playoffs, securing that spot. But division play is going to be huge because you never really know how things will shape out with the division play. So it'll be interesting to see. Bears 4-3 also. They just recently lost, but I mean, it was kind of an ugly loss, but we'll see, man. We'll see how it goes. And it's still early on, but mid-season, this is where I have a lot of these different tiers and I have these teams. So I don't think it will change much, and we have a better idea of who's actually good in the NFL and who's not. But it's kind of a surprise. Kind of a surprise. I also think the Giants are toast. Cam Scottaboo is done, so I think they're toast. He's a big blow because he was very dynamic in the backfield. Could catch, could run, could block. Like he was a great running back. So that sucks that he's gone now. But other than that, man, that's all I got for you guys. So I appreciate you if you've been kicking it with me. You've been hanging around, and you just been listening on a live stream, or you listen to the pod version, Spotify, iPodcast, wherever you get your podcast. I appreciate it. Send this to a cousin, a brother, aunt, uncle, niece, nephew, co-worker, friend, family member. I promise you they will not mind. And I'll be back later on this week. Yeah, I'll be back later on this week. And so on and so on and so on.